As always, just going to give everyone a minute to jump in across the different platforms. We're going to be live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok today. So, Facebook is just getting started. I'll start the Instagram and TikTok, and then we can get into it. Perfect. I think we're live everywhere now. So, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone on this fine Wednesday. Back for another live session. It's going to be a good one today, as always. Um, we're live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So, looking forward to everyone jumping in. Get your notepads ready, get your pens ready, because it's going to be a good one today. We're going to be talking about gut health. We're going to be talking about digestive health, gut health. We'll probably split this into a two-parter because there's so much to get into in terms of H. pylori, bloating, acid reflux, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, IBS. There's so much to get into. So we'll probably split this into a two-parter, and I've got a hard stop in an hour's time. So we've only got an hour for today's session. And you'll also notice we're back home. We're home, 3.5 months of traveling. It's been great. It's been fantastic. It's been awesome just to see different cultures, different climates, how other people live, learn as well. So many things learned, which has been great. Almost a bit of a shame to be home, but we're home now, so the work continues. The good news for those of you based in the UK, it means consultation times will be back to normal. So yeah, there'll be morning slots and evening slots again. But yes, if we've also got an exciting update for those of you who weren't on the last live. I know it's been a little longer because we didn't do Sunday. But yeah, we will be at the Philly Jays Health Hub in London, in King's Cross, on the 1st of March. We're going to have a stall there. We're going to I'm also going to be doing a talk there as well. So I'm going to be doing a talk on detoxing do's and don'ts. And it's a great opportunity to meet us. It'd be great to meet some of you guys, especially those of you based in London. So that is on the 1st of March. You can see a post about it on our page, a collaborated post, so you can go and get some tickets there as well. But that's going to be super fun. That's going to be super exciting, and it would be great to meet some of you guys as well. Hey, Raja. So that's some fun updates. You can also get a discount code on those tickets as well if you use code Magic Tree 20. Magic T20. You can get some discounted tickets. It's going to be a really fun day as well. There's lots of really exciting practitioners. It's all about living a healthy, clean routine. So exactly aligned with what we're doing. So it should be a fun day out. I'll also be doing a live tomorrow with Philly as well. So keep an eye out for that. Um, any other updates? Oh, sweet. We just hit 900K on Facebook. So you know what that means? Giveaway. So yeah, we'll think up a giveaway for you guys as well to celebrate that. But thank you for everyone on Facebook who's followed and supporting. One step closer to 1 million, so that's great. But yeah, thank you for that. Um, in terms of kits, now I'm back home. The plan is to get a lot of these kits launched and ready. We've been waiting on the kidney kit for a couple of weeks now just to get the supplies in, just to get the right herbs in. But that is pretty much nearly there. So I'm really excited to be able to launch the kidney kit, hopefully, hopefully next week. Say that tentatively, but hopefully next week. I've already written the guide, so if anyone wants the guide, let me know. But yeah, we're looking to get that launched next week. I'm also looking to bolster the gut health kit as well. I know we already have a gut health kit, but I want to make one more specific to help you whether you're dealing with IBS, Crohn's, H. pylori, colitis, and all these things. So that's also going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. We're also going to be launching the joint health kit as well. So that will cover osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. We're also going to be launching an autoimmune kit as well. So that's going to be covering things like fibromyalgia, MS, lupus, all of these things. And then we're also going to be launching a brain health kit. So that's going to be addressing things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, memory loss. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So lots of new things coming up. So that's the plan. I mean, optimistically, I'm trying to get all that done before the end of February. But maybe I'm being a bit optimistic there because there is quite a lot going on ahead of that. But um, but yeah, Lies will be back to 2 times a week as well. So we'll be bringing the show probably, what's the day today? Wednesday. We did do Wednesday and Sunday whilst we are traveling. We'll probably do maybe Tuesday and or Monday and third, and then Mondays are busy days. We'll probably do. Well, leave it with me. Leave it with me. Wednesdays work, but if we want to do it all midweek, then we'll do Tuesdays and Thursdays. If we want to keep it to a weekend, then we'll probably do a Sunday. Um, I mean, it depends. You guys let me know. Does a weekend work well for you guys? I know some of you have said Sundays are family days, so it doesn't work the best. Um, so yeah, let me know. Let me know, and we'll be flexible to where you guys want to see us. Um, hey Donetta from Guyana, love to have the international support here. IJ, do you have any herb for focus and attention? Yes, we do. We have the ADHD and autism kit, so that's also highly effective for just attention issues or focus issues as well. So that's got the lion's mane, the brahmi, the spirulina, and the shilajit in there. Works wonders. We've got reviews literally every day coming in now. We only launched the kit a month ago, but we've got reviews coming in every day now talking about how it's helping adults and children, which is great because we also have the juvenile kit as well. So, oh, thank you, child of God. Appreciate that. Yeah, we do put. I mean, it's funny. I don't claim to be a designer, but that's probably the best thing I have designed. I will take credit for that one, the packaging. So, thank you. Glad to see it's been received well. All right. I know it's only a shorter session today, so I'm gonna get into it. Let's talk about gut health. Let's talk about what causes it. What can you do to help it? Are the medications effective? Is the advice that you're probably being given helpful? And that's what we're going to be focusing the next 50 minutes on. I'll try and leave 5 minutes for some Q&A. I'll try and open it up a little bit. I'll try and keep it interactive, but there is a lot to get through. We'll probably keep this half to maybe IBS, Crohn's, colitis, because that's nice and clean. And then we'll probably do a part two on bloating, acid reflux, constipation, diarrhea, things like that. So we're going to try and separate the autoimmune and then H. pylori. We can include that with this one. So we're going to separate the pathogenic autoimmune conditions from kind of things that are mostly led by eating habits and chronic buildup over time. So let's get into it. So yeah, in terms of how the show is going to run today, it's going to be as it always is. So we're going to be doing I'm going to spend about 10-15 minutes just talking through the issue, explaining, the true cause of why this is happening to so many people across the world. I mean, I'm sure every single one of us knows someone who has Crohn's, IBS, or colitis, or H. pylori, if not dealing with it yourself. So we're going to be breaking down why that happens. Then we're going to talk about the three biggest mistakes. It's probably my favorite part of the show because it's the one that catches most people out, or most people are doing these things thinking that they're helping their case, but actually they're making it worse. So I'm going to go through the three biggest mistakes, and then I'm also going to go through, but then we're going to do a giveaway, like I said. We're going to do a separate giveaway, a bigger giveaway to celebrate 900K as well. So keep an eye out on your emails and future lives and stories for that. And then we're also going to talk about the herbs that can help as well. So we're going to be ranking the foods and herbs that can help, specifically gut health issues. And then we're also going to open it up for some challenges, my other favorite part of the show. So if any of you have been told from your doctors, told from some social media video to do something else, do something that I'm not saying, then you've open floor to invite to challenge me and tell me how wrong I am. And I'm happy to explain that, and some really fun debates usually come out of that. So for everyone new here, welcome. If this is your first show, it's going to be a good one. For the regulars, welcome back. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, I suppose last thing as well, got Jade here today as well. So thank you to Jade. She's going to be just Magic Tree Superfoods in TikTok. She's going to be Josiah _ Matty on Instagram, and then she'll also be patrolling the Facebook and YouTube comments as well. So anyone who has any questions, I can see she's already typing in the chat. If you see any of those handles come up, you'll know it's Jade, and that's a trusted reply. So yeah, okay. I'll also just say before I get into it as well, for anyone who's interested in booking a consultation, they're all with me. Hey Vicky, glad to have you here as a first time listener. But yeah, so if anyone who's interested in booking a consultation, they're all with me directly. They are getting booked up pretty quickly on for February, for the rest of February, I should say. So just a heads up, if you are interested, better to do it sooner rather than later. And yes. And also, just to let you guys know, it's been a bit of laziness on our part, but the 20% discount that is currently on the website will end after this live. So if you did want to take advantage and use that 20% Valentine's discount, then sorry? Oh, Jay took it off yesterday. My bad. Okay. Then keep an eye out because we'll be doing something for Black History Month, at least the US Black History Month. So keep an eye out for that as well soon. Cool. Let's get into it. Right. So let's talk about autoimmune gut health issues. Why do they happen? What causes them? Why is it that so many people will, and I see this all the time as well, particularly during university, when they're grieving, when they're going through a particular moment of stress, does eating go out the window? You end up eating a load of processed foods mixed with the stress, and then all of a sudden you get a Crohn's diagnosis. All of a sudden you get an IBS diagnosis. All of a sudden you get diagnosed with colitis. Less so H. pylori in that sense, and that's because it's more of a bacteria than an autoimmune condition. But you get diagnosed with these things, and then you're told it's a lifelong condition, and all you can do is have steroids. All you can do is take immunosuppressants, and that's the only option for you. You know, stay away from red meat, stay away from gluten. I think that's pretty much all they say. And good luck. That's the length, breadth, and extent of it. Now, why does it follow that pattern so accurately? To understand that, we need to understand what autoimmunity is. And, you know, I've explained this in great detail in previous lives, but ultimately, when you have an autoimmune condition, and it's funny because people say, well, I don't know what causes autoimmune conditions, but this explanation, literally, you can Google it and get the answer. With this explanation of autoimmune condition, it is herpetic viruses, namely the Epstein-Barr virus or the shingles virus, will go into your system, nestle behind fat in the duodenum, so the upper part of your intestine. It will go to your colon. It will go across the whole intestine, and it will secrete neurotoxins. It will cause inflammation. And what these pathogens have a unique ability to do is actually mimic intestinal tissue. So intestinal cells. So cells that are small intestine cells, large intestine cells, the Epstein-Barr can literally mimic those cells, cause inflammation. And when your immune system sees these virus cells, it goes after them. And when the immune system sees this inflammation, there's an inflammatory response. You have heightened levels of antibodies. Now, when your doctor or you get a test and it will say, well, you've got heightened level of antibodies, must be your immune system misfiring. It must be that your immune system is attacking you. It completely ignores the presence of this virus that the immune system is going after. Now, I will say it's not their fault because one thing Epstein-Barr can do, and again, you can Google this, you do not need to take my word for it. The Epstein-Barr can evade blood tests routinely. It does evade blood tests. Most people that test positive for Epstein-Barr or shingles is because they've had recent acute exposure. So if you've just had a round of mono, if you've just had an immune flare-up, then yes, maybe Epstein-Barr will show up on the blood test. But Epstein-Barr can hide in white blood cells. Epstein-Barr can hide in red blood cells. Epstein-Barr can hide in epithelial cells, which are your skin cells. So when we're looking for Epstein-Barr, similar with H. pylori, a negative test does not prove anything, unfortunately. And that's why these autoimmune conditions develop. I mean, someone's just asked about Streptococcus as well. Now, Streptococcus is similar in the sense that it can cause chronic inflammation and hides behind layers of fat in the intestinal walls and causes you intestinal issues. But the difference is that Streptococcus can't do that process of molecular mimicry. Streptococcus hasn't got the same tools the virus has. It can't impersonate your intestinal cells. That's the difference. They're both cause issues. Streptococcus can cause IBS by itself. In that case, it's not autoimmune. It's just the difference with IBS is that when they say IBS, it just means you have you have a bowel symptoms that we can't explain. We can't logically explain your bowel symptoms, so therefore you have IBS. When you have Crohn's, you have inflammatory markers that are elevated, specific inflammatory markers, and that's where the Crohn's diagnosis comes from. Same with colitis. You have specifically inflammatory markers that raise in response to shingles virus in the case of ulcerative colitis, that raise in response to the Epstein-Barr virus in the case of Crohn's, and that's the difference. With IBS, you could have Crohn's, you could have IBS, you could just have bad diarrhea. We don't know, so we're going to call it IBS. So Streptococcus does play a role in all of these things. Um, Typically, Streptococcus will start in the duodenum, which is the top part of the intestine, and slowly make its way down the digestive tract. So, when someone has Crohn's, they essentially have a broken upper pipe. So you have that fat, you have that pathogenic load, you have the neuroinflammation, you have the hypoxia because your food can't digest properly, you have the toxic byproducts from the gases like ammonia that are leaching into your gut, causing things like ulcers and leaky gut. All of that happens, but it happens in the top part of your intestine. That's when it's Crohn's. When that happens in your colon, it's called ulcerative colitis. When that happens across the system, it's called IBS. Those are the three differences. When you have hypoxia, so your food can't digest and it literally tears a hole through your intestine, that might be called leaky gut or permeable gut syndrome. When you have bacteria like Streptococcus or H. pylori that are chewing through your gut, chewing through your stomach, chewing through your intestines, then you can get ulcers. Now, the reason why these pathogens are elevated when you are stressed, the reason why most people develop Crohn's when they're at the lowest point in their life or the most difficult point in their life, is because when stress is high, cortisol is high, and cortisol creates a distraction. Well, basically, cortisol causes your immune system to misfire. It goes haywire. When you're on immunosuppressants, they're actually misnamed. Immunosuppressants don't suppress your immune system. They don't kind of confine your immune system. What they do is your cortisol is dysregulated when you have an autoimmune condition. So therefore, it's firing when it's not supposed to. So what immunosuppressants actually do therapeutically is contain that cortisol to try and retain some irregularity to your immune system. So it is still actually fighting. It's just not misfiring in the same way that it was. Now, so the reason why when you are stressed, the reason why when you're going through these most difficult times in your life, that's when these symptoms occur, is because these viruses are predators. They are literally waiting. Think about HSV, because that's a herpetic virus as well. So what we traditionally call herpes. When do you tend to get outbreaks, or when do people tend to get outbreaks? It's when they're most stressed. It's when they're dealing with something, it's when they're grieving, it's when they are having a horrible time at work. That's when these viruses tend to cause outbreaks. And it's the exact same thing with Crohn's. The Epstein-Barr virus is waiting for you to go through the most difficult time in your life. It's building its numbers, and then it's going to go and launch its attack, and it's going to take over your immune system, because that's literally what it does. It infects your B cells in your immune system. Imagine your intestines are a city. And you have city guards. You have guards on the walls. What the Epstein-Barr virus does is it basically sneaks inside your city walls, and then it goes up the city walls, kills your in fact it's worse than that. It doesn't even kill your, at least if it killed your watchman on the walls, you would see the dead watchman and you would realize, okay, there's a problem here, there's someone inside our city. What it actually does, it kind of worm tongues its way to persuade your guards to let all the other Epstein-Barr cells through. It persuades your guards to let certain viruses through and not let other viruses through. It takes over your system. It takes over your immune system. It takes over your government. It takes over how you make decisions. That's how the virus. When I say that, it literally does, because it could molecular mimic your brain cells as well. So it literally comprehensively tries to take over your entire city. That's what's going on there. Now, when it's colonizing, we can use that word. When it's colonizing your gut, it is essentially changing how you respond to certain foods. It's changing how you react to foods that you might have once loved. It's changing the inflammatory response to eating certain foods that you could have eaten before, because it wants to create an environment that is beneficial for for the Epstein-Barr virus. And the Epstein-Barr virus wants you to eat sugar. It wants you to eat. It wants you to. I mean, if you ever notice, people who have Crohn's still crave the sweet things, even though it makes them sick. They still crave the red meat. They still crave the processed foods. They still crave the starches. They still crave the sugars. Now, why is that? It's super painful. So why would you still want to crave those foods? And the answer is because the viruses underlying these issues feed on these things, and they are relentless in their pursuit of these things. So they make you want to crave these things, and then when they eat on these things, they poo out all the neurotoxins that cause all the inflammation and give you the pain. And unfortunately, it still doesn't make you think, oh man, I don't want this thing the next day, because you still go back for it. Or worse yet, you get given the steroids to continue eating all the same foods, and then you just allow the Epstein-Barr virus or the streptococcus to grow even further. So hopefully that explains how these symptoms develop. Now, in terms of what you can do about it, we're going to get into that. The H. pylori is different. The H. pylori is more similar to streptococcus, where it's a bacterial infection that basically, instead of colonizing your gut, the H. pylori, pardon me, instead of colonizing your gut, the H. pylori colonizes your stomach. So a very similar approach, where it's waiting for an opportunity to attack. It can hide behind your mucosal layers, but it's almost more mechanical in its approach. I would say the Epstein-Barr virus, the shingles virus, they are intelligent in the sense that they are reactive. They change how you desire foods. They change how you respond to foods. Sorry. The H. pylori, on the other hand, is more mechanical in its process. It's going to do the same thing to everyone. Two people can have an Epstein-Barr virus, and the way it reacts in two different systems will be completely different. Whereas H. pylori, its coding is the same whoever it's in. It wants to release ammonia. It wants to raise the alkalinity of your stomach. It wants to reduce your stomach acid. So therefore, your mucus lining, your mucus barrier has less of a contrast with your stomach acid. So therefore, it kind of melts away. It makes it easier for the H. pylori to corkscrew and swim into your mucosal lining. Then it releases more bacteria, more catalyst and bacteria behind your mucosal lining, which essentially can cause ulcers. That's what's going on there. When you take a breath test, if that H. pylori is hiding behind the mucosal lining, it's going to come up negative. If the H. pylori has gone to hide behind the pylori sphincter in the duodenum, in the top part of the intestine, it's going to evade your stool test. It's going to evade the breath test. It's going to evade the blood test. So, unfortunately, when we're dealing with digestive issues, testing is not really our friend, because all it's really going to say is what's coming out of you. So if you take a stool test and you see some H. pylori, all it means is you've pooed some H. pylori out. Doesn't mean the H. pylori's gone. Doesn't mean you still have the H. pylori. Doesn't tell you very much at all. When we're dealing with gut symptoms, we need to look at our symptoms. We need to understand how are we actually feeling. That is the barometer of improvement. And that actually brings me on to mistake number one. So I mean, I've kind of gone a bit longer than I needed to, or wanted to, I should say, on how these conditions arise. But in terms of the three biggest mistakes that people make, number one would be, I mean, leaky gut. I did mention leaky gut as well, didn't I? So number one would be relying on the testing too much. Relying on the testing too much. As I just said, Testing doesn't tell you what's actually inside your system. It doesn't tell you what's hiding. It doesn't tell you what's inside your organs. It doesn't tell you very much at all. You need to be going based off how you feel and your symptoms. If you feel your symptoms improving, that's a positive sign. If your symptoms are getting worse, stop doing what you're doing, generally speaking. I don't mean the odd bad day here and there or the odd good day here and there. I mean, you've been trying this diet over the course of a month and you're significantly worse than how you were before you started. I mean, you've implemented this herb. A lot of people are taking cloves because they think they need to do parasite cleanses when every time they've got a gut issue and their gut microbiome is being destroyed by all this clove usage. And now you're sick all the time. You've got no immune system. And that is a sign to stop doing what you're doing. You know, we need to be reactive to what we are actually feeling. Our body is always talking to us. Our body is giving us more information than any test will. Our body is giving us more information than I can, than any doctor can, than anyone can. Your body is the best communicator of what's wrong with it. And it's a language to be learned. It's not just something that is, I mean, it is innate, but it's not something that just, it's something you have to learn to understand. Your body doesn't communicate in English all the time or, whatever your native tongue is. Your body has different methods of communicating with you. Certain pains, certain pangs, certain times, the certain ways it will tell you it's tired, the certain ways it will tell you it doesn't want to eat this food, the certain ways it will tell you it needs to move, the certain ways it will tell you it's craving exercise. All of these things are different signals, and you need to be receptive and understand when your body is asking for something and how your body is asking for something. Okay. The second point would be ignoring your organs. And I say that because a lot of people think, oh, I've got gut issues. It must be my stomach. It must be parasites. It must be food poisoning. It must be my appendix. And all of those things could be true. I'm not saying they're not true. But what we need to understand is there are so many other things. No, sorry, not even that. There are a few organs that play a role in every part of digestion that cannot be ignored. So think of it as a train track and, or yeah, or should I say a train line. And the organs are different stops on the train line. If the tracks at one stop get blown up, then the whole thing breaks down. The train could not get to the next station. So, when you understand the digestive tract is one tube all the way, so literally from your lips, which would be the opening of the tube, to your anus, your rectum, your bum, that's the end of the tube. That is one tube. It's not it doesn't it doesn't it doesn't veer off, it doesn't change, it doesn't split into three. It's just one tube. So when you have a blockage anywhere in that tube, you're going to have problems further down the line. So just to understand this tube, literally the tube starts here, it goes through down your throat, past your esophagus, into your stomach. Once it gets into your stomach, there's some processing that goes on there. Then it moves into your small intestine, which again is one tube. Once it moves into your small intestine, there's some absorption that happens there. Some nutrients get absorbed. Waste starts to be processed. Your pancreas comes into play here. Your liver comes into play here. Then again, the liver and the pancreas aren't in the tube. They aren't part of the tube, but they are connected to the tube. So they release hormones that go into the tube. They process nutrients that end up being extracted out of the tube and go into your cells. But everything is still within this tube. All the food that, if I eat one thing, it's going to go from here and it follows the same process every single time. Then it's going to go, as I said, into your stomach, into your small intestine, then goes through your large intestine to be processed. Then it's going to go into the colon, then it's going to go into the rectum, and then ultimately be squeezed out once it's been turned into waste. So when you understand it's just one long tube, when things go wrong, it's like being a mechanic, it's like being an engineer. Well, which part of the tube is broken? Is it the stomach? Are we not getting enough juice from the liver? Are we not getting enough bile to break down the fat? Are we not getting enough hormones from the pancreas? Is there not enough lubrication in the piping in the intestines? Is there not enough moisture is causing constipation in the colon? Is there too much moisture? Are things moving through too quickly? And that's what's causing diarrhea in the colon. Are your rectal nerves singed and that's why you're not getting the sensation to go? You know, do you have invaders in your piping which are changing how you are in becoming inflamed to certain foods? When you understand it from that perspective, we can become a lot clearer in what we are aiming to do. We can get away from all these acronyms. We can get away from IBS, UC, CD, leaky gut, ammonia. We can get away from all these super complex stool tests. We can get away from all these I mean, the amount of times people send me gut tests, stool tests, and they'll say, "Oh, I'm lacking Leprococcus sacromonius, and these random bacteria which play no real role in your gut health. But just because the gut test has picked it up and said, well, you're lacking that, or that's low, then that becomes a focal point of, oh, well, I need to take all these, I need to take all these prebiotics and probiotics to repair my gut microbiome because that's the source of all my issues, and that's why I'm feeling moody, and that's why I can't. And it's like, if you've got you've literally got a billion, over a trillion different cells in your or bacteria in your gut. To take a test to try and identify if any of those trillion are underserved or low doesn't make much sense. What are you reasonably hoping to gain from a test that's telling you one in a trillion of your bacteria are low? Doesn't make much sense. So that's not to say all gut testing is useless. There are some things that can come out, particularly if you've got a set of symptoms that you're looking for something specific. Like Bifidobacterium is a useful bacterium to look for. Oxalobacter bacterium is a useful bacteria to look for if you've got autism or something like that. But these are all very case specific. You don't just want to be saying, I've got gut issues, let me just take a stool test and see what's off. That's not very helpful. That's like saying, I've got a crime problem in my city, so I'm going to look for, you know, every I'm going to look for the flaw in every single citizen. I'm going to look for every single citizen that didn't turn up to work on time. I'm going to look for every single citizen that jaywalks across the road. That's not a useful barometer of trying to get to the bottom of your crime issue in the city. You can't just go top down. You need to go bottom up, and that's the point being made here. Okay, and then the final point in terms of the biggest mistake that if I didn't even get into the organ, I mean, I spoke about the tube, so that's probably I'll refine mistake number two to the tube. People don't understand that it's a tube, and we just need to understand where it's broken down in the tube. The third point, which I didn't really get into, is the organs. So your liver. Your liver plays the most important role in terms of digestion. If you have any digestive issue, you have a liver problem. There is no such digestive issue that does not stem from the liver. None. None. So, all the ones I mentioned, all the ones I haven't mentioned, they all stem from the liver because your liver is responsible for bile. Now, bile is responsible for breaking down fat. So when you have bile in your stomach to break down fat, when you have bile that goes into your small intestine to break down fat, all of this is crucial to the starting point of all digestive issues. All digestive issues stem from having too much fat in your duodenum. So bacteria can either sit there and release gases that go back up into your stomach, or they can go further down into your digestive tract and cause issues there. Or they make it easier for H. pylori to hide. Or they make it easier for Epstein-Barr virus to hide. They make it easier for shingles to hide. But it always comes down to fat in your intestines, and it always comes down to weak bile. Weak bile, in turn, causes weak stomach acid. When stomach acid is weak, stomach acid is your first line of defense. Stomach acid is your, security standing at the front of the gate to the city walls. Your stomach acid needs to be the one that says no one passes, no one comes in. Imagine if you've got city walls where anyone that comes through, they just say, so from where, mate? Yeah, yeah, just come through. Yeah, yeah, no problem, just come through. Where? Yeah, just come through. That's what weak stomach acid is. It's it. bacteria has a free entry pass into your digestive tract. And once it gets in, if you have fat lined intestines, they can hide. They can hide. So imagine you've got, just to extend the analogy, imagine you've got this security that lets everyone walk through, and then you've got, a load of alleyways and dark and no cameras and no police, and you've got all of these places where the Epstein-Barr virus can hide and evade because no one's watching it. That's what the fat does. It takes away all your security cameras in your system. Your immune system doesn't have a chance when these viruses and pathogens can hide behind deep layers of fat. And when I'm talking about this fat, it's not trivial. It's literally centimeters thick of fat. And this isn't. I'm not saying you have to be, what someone would say is fat for this to be the case. I'm not saying you have to weigh hundreds of kilos. I'm not saying you have to have a big belly, because this is visceral fat. This is fat inside the organs. So I mean, you can Google it. You can Google it. I mean, I didn't put it in yesterday's video, but there's lots of videos where you can actually see the fat around the intestines, and then you can understand how easy it is for something microscopic to hide in this fat. Because imagine being an immune system and you've basically got all of this sludge, this thick, heavy sludge that to get to it, you have to somehow wade through to get to the enemy. It's like, what? You can't possibly expect your immune system to have to do that. And every day you continue to eat the keto diet, you continue to eat red meat, you continue to even eat avocado, you continue to eat nuts, all of this fat. Don't get me wrong, avocado and nuts are the best source of fat, but all of it is still fat. You're just building to your visceral fat levels and making it easier and easier and easier for these viruses to take over your immune system, or take over your gut and immune system. And then when all that happens is, "Oh, I'm really stressed about that exam. Oh, I'm really stressed about this big presentation at work. Oh, my manager is making my life a living nightmare. Oh, unfortunately, I've just heard the news that one of my parents is sick, so now I'm having to be a carer for the next 6 months." It's waiting for those type of opportunities to be able to say, perfect, time to operate, time to move. It's my city now. My city now. I'm taking over. You can't eat red meat anymore, otherwise I'm going to cause you searing pain. Every single time I'm going to turn your inflammatory response into something crazy. That's what it's doing. So, okay. Let's do a bit of a giveaway before we get into ranking the different foods and ranking what is going to help the situation. We've spoken a lot about what causes it, but let's talk about what's going to help. So, Jane, would this include bile salt malabsorption? Um, Partially, partially. If you're not able to absorb the salts that are used to make your bile, then you're going to have weak bile. So there's lots of ways people can have weak bile. It could be an injured gallbladder, could be heavy metals in the liver, could be too much stress in the liver, adrenaline, could be herpetic viruses in the liver, could be bacteria in the liver, could be pesticides in the liver, could be too much fat, too much sugar. All of these things can injure the liver, and when you have an injured liver, you're compromising your ability to make bile, and as a result, compromising your stomach acid. Now, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of things we can do to help repair that. So that's the good thing. Um, but it's important to understand that's the core of the issue, and everything should be geared towards that. Um, so, um, Giveaway time. That's what I was saying. So, we want to say thank you to everyone who is here right now, because you could be anywhere, but you've chosen to be here, you're taking in the information. So, really appreciate that. So, what we're going to be doing is a giveaway. We're going to probably do two giveaways if time allows. So, Jade, if you could choose or spin the. Um, Thank you very much. So when Jade's done that, she will let me know. Um, so, just Jade, your question about um, bile acid diarrhea. I was just reading it. So, I mean, if you've got bile acid diarrhea, the most the most likely reason for that is because of injury to part of the tubing, um, or disease. I mean, it could be basically it's a combination of all the things that we've discussed before. There's no kind of great explanation for it, but it's most likely the result of an injured intestine, injured pancreas, or no, not injured pancreas, injured gallbladder, or injured liver, where essentially you're not excreting where you're supposed to be excreting. So I would still just follow all the advice given today. Um, and that's the thing with inflammatory bowel conditions. That's the thing with a lot of these gut issues. There's no clean explanation. There's no, well, this is the direct reason for this, and that's why that. And that's why the easiest thing to do is to fix the whole piping and tubing. Once we do that, when we eat in that way, when we operate in that way, when we use the herbs that support with that way, then that's the best way to do it. I mean, I'm literally looking just out of curiosity. I was looking now, and it literally says there's no specific underlying cause for bile acid diarrhea. Sometimes it's a hormone deficiency or deficiency in a hormone. So that is such an archetypal explanation of a lot of these gut issues. We don't have a clue, but it could be something to do with some gene. It could be something to do with some hormone. Doesn't help anyone. So that's why we talk about things comprehensively rather than getting bogged down in um, one specific part of the system. But okay. Jade has the prize, and this giveaway is going to be a consultation. So nice. Okay. So yeah, this consultation is going to be with me directly, a 20-minute consultation. I think the fairest way to do it, I'll try and have everything up so I can see all the chats. So um, yeah, I'll just set probably the easiest way to do it. First person to say the following message, and I'll try and keep an eye on everything at the same time. Jade's keeping an eye out too. So, the first person to say um, consultation, please, will get the free consultation. So, oh, oh, okay. I think we've got a winner.
Yeah.
It's always two people at exactly the same time, but I mean, unfortunately,
Lucky, I got
sorry.
lucky.
Yes, that's who's coming up first for me as well.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Okiki Beats. You were first. So what we'll do is,
I'll send him my email, they can email us.
yeah, Jay's gonna pop the email into the chat. Congratulations on winning. We'll try and squeeze in one more giveaway before the end of the show today. So if you didn't win this time, there will be another chance to win. But congratulations, Okiki. We'll send Jade will put the email in the TikTok chat, and then you can send an email. Well, yeah, email us so we have your email, and then we can send you a link to book in for the consultation. So congratulations. I can see a lot of you have entered, which is appreciate that. um, yeah, I mean, if you do want a consultation, we do have consultations available on the website. They are very reasonably priced, to be honest. I keep saying I'm going to increase the price and never get around to it. They start from £50,
59.
59.99. If you buy them with a kit, they're £50. And some of them include like a 3 month supply of four different herbs, which is pretty much the value of the consultation. So the consultation ends up being free. So
And some kits include a consultation.
yeah, so there's lots of options on there. So I'd encourage you to check that out if you are interested in a consultation. Um, but yeah, let's get back to proceedings. Okay. Um, what was we saying?
Use on foods.
Yeah, ranking the foods, ranking the foods. I'm gonna, cause just because of time, if anyone does have any challenges, I'm gonna open it up in the same section. So in this section of the show, we invite for everyone that's new here. If you are eating certain foods, okay, thank you, Kiki. I've just seen you've emailed, so thank you. If you are eating certain foods, then and you're not sure if it's helping or harming, then you can pop them into the chat, and I'll rank it out of 10, and I will explain why it's gotten that score. If you have the question in a specific context of a specific issue, let me know and I can be more specific rather than just gut health or liver health generally. And then also at the same time, if you do have any challenges, if you've heard when I say challenges to what I'm saying. So if you've heard me say something and you're like, "What? I didn't." That's in conflict to what I've heard from someone else, or some other expert has told me something different to that. Then yeah, I invite you to challenge what I've said, and I'm happy to explain further as well. So yeah, let's kick it off. All right. So I'm going to start with probably the best thing when it comes to gut health. And I say that it's not necessarily the best thing for any condition specifically, but it's the best general thing that everyone would benefit from incorporating, is what I would say. So that thing is milk thistle. So milk thistle is one of my favorite herbs because it's the best thing to cleanse the liver. And as I said, whenever we're talking about a digestion issue, the liver is always super important. So milk thistle contains a compound called silymarin. Silymarin is the best thing to cleanse a damaged liver. It detoxes the liver. It's the liver's nectar. And milk thistle helps with that. So milk thistle helps to strengthen your bile. It helps to lower your stomach acid, as in strengthen your stomach acid. It helps to, clear out the fat in your intestines. It lowers cholesterol. So all of these things milk thistle helps to do, and that's why the milk thistle would score a 10 out of 10. Um, we're going to keep it positive. We're going to keep it positive. Someone said, do you boil the milk thistle? So in terms of our milk thistle, you can eat it, just eat the seeds as if you would eat sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. So I like to sprinkle it over my salads. I can also do it in a yogurt bowl as well, coconut yogurt bowl. But that's the best way to do it. You can brew it as a tea as well. It's better to eat it because cinnamon is fat soluble. So if you brew it into a tea, you're not getting as much of it out. If you eat it and your bile's nice and strong, you're going to break down all that fat and be able to use the cinnamon. Slippery elm, I've seen someone say. So slippery elm would score a solid 7.5 out of 10. And just for anyone new here, my scale is my scale. So 5 means doesn't move the needle either way. 10 is it's the best thing you can eat. 0 is you should never be eating this food. 3 is you're not doing yourself any favors by eating this food. And 7 is it's a good food to include. So that's kind of how to frame when I'm ranking these foods.
Quick question. Someone's asking if 3-year-old take milk thistle.
Can a 3-year-old take milk thistle? Yes, generally. The great thing about milk thistle is that it's so well tolerated. Interesting fact about milk thistle, it's one of the only herbs that someone with a stage 5 kidney disease can even reasonably take in a beneficial way. So it's so well tolerated because it just nourishes the liver. And when you nourish the liver, you're basically, it's like, if the liver is the engine on your car, because everything goes through it. If the liver is the engine in your car, it's like saying, well, if something just makes your engine operate more efficiently, can someone take it? So the answer is always going to be yes, because there's nothing that gets worsened by your engine operating more efficiently. And notice, I'm not saying harder, I'm not saying faster, I'm not saying stronger, I'm just saying more efficiently. It's clearing out the engine. That's all it's doing. So, um, slippery elm, I would give it a 7.5. I'd give it a 7.5. So the reason I would give it a 7.5 is because it helps to line your line your intestines. It helps to support the mucous membranes in your intestines. It helps to prevent constipation and it adds valuable fiber to your diet. Fiber is really important for preventing digestive issues because fiber, if we're talking about the fat is one side of what's blocking and hiding your the viruses in your intestines. The fiber is like the cleanup crew. The fiber goes in and just bundles all of the Epstein-Barr cells out of the way. It bundles the virus cells out of the way because it's big and clunky and takes everything on its way with it. That's why the fiber is useful. Fiber is like the police going through your city and just roughing up all of the viruses on the way through. So, good thing about the fiber is it doesn't take away good things. So, it's more akin to fiber is more like police going through an overrun city and trying to take it back, as opposed to indiscriminately hurting everyone in the city in pursuit of the criminals. An important distinction to make there. Okay. So Slippery Elm scores a 7.5, I would say. Um, Please, can I have the name again? Hill, I'm not sure. I mean, I've only said Slippery Elm and Milk Thistle. So let me know which one you was asking about specifically. Um, just trying to keep an eye on the chats. Okay, yeah, 10 minutes. So let's keep it positive still. Um, Lemon water, absolutely fantastic thing to incorporate, and it probably scores a 9 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, because it basically corrects the pH in all of your systems. We haven't spoken about the pH because that's probably a level of complexity beyond today's session. But it corrects the pH of your stomach acid, it corrects the pH of your small intestine, and it corrects the pH of your large intestine as well. It also helps to rebuild the acidity in your stomach. It also helps to do to the level 2 detox pathways of your liver. So lemon water or lime water is fantastic when we're talking about gut health issues. It's subtle, but it's super powerful, and it's something you can do every single day, and it's inexpensive as well, which is why I love it as well. Celery juice, another one that falls into the same bucket. It strips Epstein-Barr viruses of its defenses. It also alkalizes the systems that need alkalizing and also strengthens stomach acid. It also protects your mucosal lining. It's a great option. 9 out of 10. Psyllium husk, I saw someone say. Psyllium husk, I would probably score a similar to slippery elm. Does the same functional thing as slippery elm. Same as marshmallow root. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Similar to aloe vera. Again, aloe vera probably has slightly more cleansing properties because it has more bioactive nutrients. So maybe aloe vera would score an 8 out of 10. Um, Broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts would have to score a 8 out of 10. If it's talking about H. pylori, it scores a 10 out of 10. So broccoli sprouts, one of the best things you can eat. It's the highest source of sulforaphane in the world. So sulforaphane is what knocks down H. pylori in the gut. So that's why broccoli sprouts. I'm not talking about broccoli. I'm not talking about Brussels sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are a separate food. If you go to my video, maybe it's a bit too close to the laptop. If you go to my video yesterday talking about digestive health, you'll see what broccoli sprouts are. Um, Apple cider vinegar is that's a good segue to move on to more of the negative ones. Apple cider vinegar would score a 3. Now, is apple cider vinegar good for weight loss? Yes, it is. Is apple cider vinegar good for your liver? No, it's not. Anything acidic like that is putrefying and pickling your liver. So even when we're talking about fermented foods like kefir, or is kefir better than milk? Yes. Milk scores a 1. Kefir scores a 4. So that's the difference. Kefir does have some positive benefits. It does have it does have positive microbiotics. However, they're dead microbiotics. They're not alive, so it's not the same as what you would get from your food. So, sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, all of these foods, they probably score a 4.5. If we're talking apple cider vinegar, that probably drops down to a 3 because it's more acidic and it's just straight vinegar. It pickles toxins as well, as in creates an environment for them to thrive. So, yeah, apple cider vinegar would probably score a 3. Red meat would score a 3. Not the worst thing in the world, but it's not doing you any favors. Oh, okay. It's not doing you any favors either. So pork scores a 1, full of carcinogens, full of nitrogens, nitrates even, not what you want to be eating.
Ashwagandha?
Ashwagandha is a good one. So ashwagandha is probably a 6. It's not directly a gut herb. If you're someone dealing with an autoimmune inflammatory condition, then ashwagandha can be helpful because ashwagandha lowers your cortisol. And as I said, these viruses are waiting for you to be stressed to attack. So ashwagandha improves your response to stress. So therefore, you're not prone to the same outbreaks in the same way. And it also supports your adrenal glands, and your adrenal glands play a role in peristalsis, so moving food through your digestive tract. So, if you are someone who has diarrhea or constipation, ashwagandha can be really helpful for you. If you're someone who has bloating or acid reflux, ashwagandha can indirectly support the vagus nerve. Lion's mane and brahmi would be better options for that vagus nerve, but it can support the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is responsible for secreting juices into your stomach. So if you have bloating or acid reflux, that's why that is relevant. So ashwagandha is indirectly supportive across the board, and I'd probably give it a 6. However, if you're taking ashwagandha extract, it can be overexcitatory for any of these systems and do too much. So I'd recommend the raw root rather than the KSM-66 extract.
Probiotics tablets.
Just before I move on to that, what I would recommend instead of the ashwagandha, and actually something that would score probably an 8 or a 9, would be licorice root. Now, as long as you don't have high blood pressure, the reason why licorice root is better than the ashwagandha in this context is because it still supports your adrenal glands, it still buffers your cortisol, slightly less, but what it does do primarily is rebuild your mucosive linings. And if fat is the sludge, mucosive lining is the beautiful green lakes. So in your city, you want more beautiful green lakes than you do sludge-lined fields. So viruses don't hide in crystal clear waters where they can be seen. They hide in dirty, dark sludge. So the better your mucus can be, the better your mucosive lining can be, that's going to be beneficial, and that's where the licorice root comes up trumps. Probiotics, Jade said.
In tablet form.
So tablet probiotics usually have a load of, I mean, I don't know the specific ones you're asking about. Most of the ones that I've seen typically have a load of other ingredients in there, a load of fillers, a lot of bulking agents, a load of cellulose and microcellulose and things like that. The reason is because, probiotics are microbiotics, they're tiny. So when you need to add it to something that you can actually eat, you then need to put it in powder. And when you put it in powder, you get all the fillers and the stuff that's actually feeding the viruses. It's also not true, and this probably should have been one of the big myths, it's also not true that good bacteria fights bad bacteria. If you're dealing with a streptococcus issue, you're never going to heal that streptococcus issue from taking probiotics and taking good bacteria. Now, there are some specific circumstances where, gut bacteria is helpful if you have dysbiosis, if you're lacking certain bacteria genetically, if you are deficient from diet. As I said, bifidobacterium, oxalate these are helpful bacterias. But things like lactobacillus, you can easily get that from food and you don't require probiotics for that. So if you're going to do probiotics, it should be a targeted, you are deficient in this thing and that's why you are taking it. Not just because you've got indiscriminate gut dysbiosis, not just because you've got indiscriminate gut health issues, you want it to be targeted.
A few more foods that you said?
We'll squeeze in a couple more, we've got a couple minutes.
Fish, chicken, eggs.
So chicken, I would score a 5, not great, depends on the chicken. It's usually got a load of toxins and antibiotics and things like that with burden the kidneys. Eggs would be a 3, they burden the liver, they feed the viruses directly. They do have nutrients, but inflammatory, not something I'd recommend. And what did he say? Fish, was it?
Yeah.
Fish, I would score probably a 5.5. It's not healing anything, which is why it doesn't score much more than a 5. But in terms of getting your protein in, it's the best source of protein. So particularly fish that doesn't contain heavy metals. So that would be salmon, sardines, cod. Those would be the best source of fishes. But yeah, you want to steer off animal. I wouldn't really recommend, if you're someone actively dealing with an issue, I wouldn't recommend animal protein more than twice a week, and the less the better, to be honest. You can also have, sorry, I didn't say this, mineral deficiencies can also be a massive cause. So if you're someone who's eating a load of meat and you still have B12 deficiencies and you still have iron deficiencies, the meat isn't doing the job. So you want to look for other ways to get those nutrients in. Herbs might help, things like shilajit to absorb your, improve your availability. Things like switching to non-heme iron because it's locked away and more protected because you might have viruses stealing it. These are all things to explore.
Someone said there's licorice root, tastes like licorice.
I've never actually had licorice root. We brought it into stock whilst I was away, so it's one I need to try. But yeah, it's sweet. I don't think I'll like it because I don't like licorice, but it's sweet. It hasn't got the same aftertaste as licorice root, I understand, but it's sweet. Olive oil is actually pretty good. I'd score, in terms of fat sources, it's up there alongside nuts and avocado. So I would score that probably a 6, maybe a 6.5. Lentils. So this is a really important thing to say as well. You know, things like lentils, beans, and I'm not talking soybeans, but kidney beans, black beans, you know, lentils. These are all really good foods. Really good foods. Really good way if you're, you know, on a vegan diet. Really good way to get the protein in as well. So I'd recommend beans. Again, not soybeans, not baked beans from a tin, but beans that you are soaked and cooked to reduce their oxalate load as well. They're all good.
And then coconut oil. Nothing.
Coconut oil is good. Monolaurin kills Streptococcus, so I'd recommend that. Also kills the hepatic viruses as well. Anything that's zinc and lysine rich, I'd recommend. Fruits, we didn't really get into that, but I'd recommend. But guys, I need to jump on a call, so it's going to be a bit of a harsh cut off. I wanted to just spend more time talking about the foods that can actually help you, 'cause I know I spent so much time talking about what you shouldn't be doing. Thank you to everyone for joining. We didn't quite get time to do the second giveaway. Don't worry, we will be doing a bigger giveaway for 900K.
Oh, that you do the next
Oh, next time as well. But so the next live will probably be on Sunday. We will
one. We've got
see.
one tomorrow. Why not do one
Oh yeah,
Philly
sure.
tomorrow?
So we've got a live on Philly tomorrow. So try and join that. We'll try and do it so it's connected up from my phone, from my account as well, and not just on Philly's account. But yeah, we'll be doing that. And what else we've got coming up? Yeah, we'll be doing another live, so we'll do a part two to this one next time. I'm not sure if that will be this weekend or next week. If anyone's interested in the tickets to the event on the 1st of March to come meet us and hear the talk, then let us know, send us an email. Hopefully you found this one interesting, guys. There's so much to get through, and we've only really scratched the surface as well, but hopefully still a useful guide for you to get started and stop making the same mistakes. Website, Doris, is Magic Tree Superfoods. I think Jay's just typing that in. Um, yeah, I think that's everything, guys. Appreciate you guys. We'll speak again soon. Keep an eye out on the stories to see when we'll next be back live. Thank you to everyone for joining, and we'll speak soon. All right, appreciate you guys. Bye, everyone.